If you've ever heard a police dispatcher say, K9 unit responding, your brain probably filled in the image instantly. A trained dog, a handler, authority, precision. What's interesting is how automatic that reaction is. We don't stop to decode the word or question it. We just understand it. That's exactly why this topic matters. Some of the most powerful ideas in everyday life are the ones we rarely pause to examine. Today's question seems simple on the surface, but once you pull it apart, it reveals a story about language, efficiency, psychology, and how humans assign meaning to symbols. Before we get into it, if this kind of deep explanation of everyday terms is your thing, staying subscribed helps you catch future episodes without hunting for them. This channel is built for people who like understanding the why, not just memorizing the what. Now let's get into the real value. The term K9 comes from language efficiency rather than tradition or slang. K9 exists because it sounds like the word canine. That's the foundation. Canine is the scientific and formal term used to describe dogs and members of the dog family. At some point in the early 20th century, professionals realized that writing the full word wasn't always practical. Police departments, military units, and training organizations rely heavily on fast communication, short labels, and easy visual identification. K9 solved that problem perfectly. It reduced a 6-letter word into 2 characters that could be read instantly, even from a distance. That matters when something is printed on a vehicle, stitched onto a uniform, or marked on equipment. Over time, this shorthand didn't just replace the longer word in documents, it became the word. Dogs have been used for protection and enforcement for thousands of years, but organized police dog units are a much more recent development. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, European countries like Germany and Belgium began formalizing dog training programs for law enforcement. Once dogs became official tools of the job rather than informal helpers, departments needed consistent terminology. A standardized label made training manuals, interdepartmental communication, and record-keeping easier. When similar programs expanded into the United States, the need for a universal, professional-sounding term became even more important. K9 fit that need better than any alternative, because it was short, neutral, and already tied to established scientific language. During World War II, military working dogs were trained for patrol, detection, guarding, and message delivery. These dogs operated in high-risk environments and often saved lives. As their roles expanded, so did the language around them. The term K9 gained weight because it was associated with discipline, reliability, and service. These weren't mascots or companions. They were assets with defined responsibilities. When soldiers and handlers spoke about K9s, the term carried respect. After the war, many military practices influenced civilian law enforcement, including terminology. That transition helped cement K9 as the standard label for working dogs in public service. One of the most important things to understand is that K9 does not describe what a dog is. It describes what a dog does. German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, Labrador Retrievers, Bloodhounds, and Dutch Shepherds can all be K9s. The label only applies once a dog completes formal training and meets specific performance standards. A family pet, no matter how well behaved, is not a K9. This distinction matters because it turns the word into a title rather than a nickname. When someone says K9, they are referring to a trained professional animal with a defined function. That's why the term carries authority. It signals competence and specialization, in the same way titles like firefighter or pilot do. Different countries use different words for dog, but K9 remains widely understood. That's because it's rooted in the English-based scientific term canine, which is already used in veterinary science and biology worldwide. As international training programs, joint security operations, and global law enforcement conferences became more common, a shared shorthand reduced confusion. When someone says K9 unit, the meaning is clear regardless of accent or native language. That universality helped the term spread beyond English-speaking countries and become an international standard rather than a regional nickname. K9 works not only because of how it sounds, but also because of how it looks. 2 bold characters are easier to recognize than a longer word, especially on moving vehicles or uniforms. Over time, that visual consistency trained the public. People learned to associate the letters K9 with authority, alertness, and controlled power. There's also a subtle psychological effect. The number 9 resembles a curled tail, which makes the symbol feel unintentionally fitting. While that wasn't the original intention, human brains are good at attaching meaning to patterns. Once that association forms, it reinforces memory and recognition without effort. Movies, television shows, documentaries, and news coverage amplified the term far beyond professional circles. K9 units became central figures in crime dramas and real-world reporting. As audiences saw these dogs tracking suspects, detecting explosives, and assisting officers, the term K9 gained emotional weight. It came to represent loyalty, courage, and partnership under pressure. When language carries emotion as well as information, it sticks. That's why today you hear the term used casually by people who have no connection to law enforcement. It sounds serious because it earned that reputation through repeated, consistent use in high-stakes contexts. Many abbreviations fade over time because they become confusing or outdated. K9 survived because it does the opposite. It communicates instantly, respects the professionalism of the role, and avoids unnecessary complexity. It's short without being vague and formal without being cold. That balance is rare in language, and when it appears, it tends to last. K9 didn't replace the word dog. It carved out its own space to describe a specific relationship between humans and trained animals working toward a shared goal. Understanding why dogs are called K9 isn't about trivia. It's about seeing how language evolves to meet real-world needs, and how symbols gain power through use, context, and consistency. If this explanation added clarity to something you've heard your whole life but never questioned, that's exactly what this channel is here for. Subscribe so you don't miss future breakdowns, and share this with someone who enjoys learning how simple things carry deeper meaning.